Hello there, and welcome. Tonight, you don't need to learn anything, remember anything, or focus on any details. This is not a lecture, and it's not an analysis. It's simply a quiet space. A slow moment at the end of the day where you can set everything down and allow yourself to rest. Together, we're going to explore something familiar, something gentle, and something deeply human. Why Christmas feels so cozy, not just emotionally, but physically, mentally, and even spiritually. For many people, Christmas carries a feeling that's hard to explain. A warmth that seems to arrive on its own. A softness in the air. A sense that time has slowed, even if only slightly. The world feels quieter, safer, and more comforting than usual. And what's interesting is that this feeling appears across cultures, beliefs, and generations. Even people who don't actively celebrate Christmas often recognize that something about this season feels different. Tonight, we're going to explore why that is. Not as a debate, not as a theory to prove, but as a calm journey through the science of the human nervous system, the psychology of comfort, the power of memory and the senses, and even the quiet biblical patterns that have shaped this season for thousands of years. You'll begin to see that coziness is not imaginary. It's not sentimental. It's not something you're making up. It's something your body and brain are designed to feel under the right conditions. As you listen, you might notice your breathing becoming slower. Your shoulders may relax without you trying. Your thoughts may soften, drifting in and out, rather than holding tightly to anything. That's perfectly okay. You don't need to follow every word. You can simply let the sound of this story exist in the background, like a warm light left on in the next room. Christmas arrives during the darkest time of the year, and that's not an accident. Biologically, psychologically, and biblically, darkness has always been a time when humans slow down, when activity decreases, when reflection increases, when the body naturally seeks warmth, closeness, and safety. Long before modern decorations and traditions, winter itself invited people inward, toward shelter, toward community, toward rest. In the Bible, light often appears during moments of darkness, not as a sudden explosion, but as a gentle presence, a candle, a star, a promise spoken quietly. The Christmas story itself begins in stillness. Shepherds watching at night, a small town resting under the weight of empire, a child born not in noise, but in quiet. These patterns matter because they align with how the human nervous system responds to safety. Your brain is constantly asking one simple question: am I safe? When the answer is yes, your body relaxes, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, stress hormones decrease, and Christmas, through light, warmth, familiarity, and repetition, sends that message again and again. You are safe. You can rest now. This is why the season feels different. Warm lights instead of harsh brightness. Familiar music instead of unpredictable noise. Repeated traditions instead of constant decisions. Comfort food instead of stimulation. Even the way people speak tends to soften. These are not random cultural habits. They're signals to the brain that it's okay to slow down. And tonight, as you listen, you're invited into that same signal. If this kind of calm storytelling brings you peace, if you find yourself feeling more relaxed just hearing these words, I gently invite you to support this space by liking this video or subscribing to SleepTide. It helps this quiet corner of the internet continue to exist for people who need rest, comfort, and calm nights like this one. You don't need to do it now, just know it's there if you wish. As we continue, we'll gently uncover how your brain responds to familiarity, why certain lights feel warmer than others, how smells unlock deep emotional memories, and why Christmas traditions calm anxiety in ways modern life rarely does. We'll also touch on the ancient wisdom found in Scripture, not as doctrine, but as pattern, a reflection of human nature that hasn't changed as much as we think. For now, there's nothing you need to do. You can let your eyes rest. You can let your thoughts wander. You can allow this question to sit quietly in your mind. Why does Christmas feel so cozy? The answer isn't rushed. It unfolds slowly, just like the season itself, and we'll explore it together, one calm step at a time. Take a slow breath in and let it go. Block 2, the brain's relationship with safety and familiarity. As we continue gently forward, it helps to understand something very simple about the human brain. Long before it learned to read, calculate, or analyze, the brain learned one essential skill. It learned how to recognize what is familiar, and familiarity, more than almost anything else, is interpreted as safety. Deep inside your brain sits a network often referred to as the limbic system. You don't need to remember that name. What matters is what it does. This part of the brain is constantly scanning your environment, quietly and automatically, asking one question over and over again. Is this safe, or is this uncertain? It does this without words, without logic, and without your permission. And when the answer feels familiar, the nervous system begins to relax. Familiarity tells the brain that nothing unexpected is about to happen. This is why routines feel comforting. This is why repeated sounds, smells, and sights bring ease. And this is why Christmas, perhaps more than any other time of year, sends a steady stream of safety signals to the brain. Think about how predictable the season feels. The same songs return each year. The same decorations appear in the same places. The same colors, the same lights, the same patterns repeat themselves. Even conversations tend to sound familiar. These repetitions matter more than we realize. They reduce the brain's need to stay alert. They lower the mental effort required to process the world. Your brain loves patterns. Pattern recognition is one of its most powerful tools. When a pattern repeats, the brain stops treating it as a potential threat. It doesn't need to analyze it. It doesn't need to prepare for danger. It can simply allow it to exist. This is one of the reasons why familiar Christmas music feels soothing instead of boring. The brain already knows what comes next, and knowing what comes next is deeply calming. During the rest of the year, the brain is often overwhelmed with unpredictability, new information, sudden changes, unexpected demands, notifications, decisions, problems that need solving. This constant novelty keeps the nervous system slightly activated, even when we don't consciously feel stressed. Christmas interrupts that pattern. It replaces novelty with repetition. It replaces uncertainty with expectation. It replaces sharp edges with softness, and your brain responds immediately. When the limbic system senses safety, it sends signals to the rest of the body. Heart rate slows, muscles loosen, breathing becomes deeper and more rhythmic. Stress hormones decrease, while calming neurotransmitters increase. None of this requires effort. It happens naturally when the brain feels secure. This is why Christmas comfort feels physical, not just emotional. You may notice that your body reacts before your thoughts do. You sit differently. You move more slowly. You linger a little longer. These responses are not habits. They are biological reactions to a familiar and predictable environment. The Bible reflects this same principle through story and structure. God often works through repetition. Seasons return. Rituals repeat. Stories are retold year after year. Not because humans forget easily, but because repetition creates grounding. The Christmas story itself is told the same way, with the same scenes, the same characters, the same words. Shepherds, angels, night, light, a child. These familiar elements are not meant to surprise. They are meant to reassure. Your brain responds to this kind of storytelling the same way it responds to a familiar song. It recognizes the pattern and relaxes into it. Even small details play a role. The way homes are arranged, the way lights are placed, the way tables are set. These predictable cues form a mental map that tells the brain where it is and what to expect. And when expectations are met, the nervous system rests. This is also why traditions feel so important during Christmas. Decorating the same way, cooking the same foods, watching the same movies. These rituals are not about nostalgia alone. They are about safety. They give the brain a sense of continuity, a reminder that some things remain stable even when the world changes. Predictability lowers anxiety. It reduces decision-making fatigue. It removes the need for constant evaluation. During Christmas, many decisions are already made. The brain doesn't have to choose what music to play. It doesn't have to decide how the season should look. The script is already written. And that, for the brain, is a gift. As you listen now, you may notice how this understanding itself feels calming, knowing that your sense of comfort is not weakness, but wisdom, not imagination, but design. Your brain is doing exactly what it was created to do, seeking safety, responding to familiarity, allowing rest when conditions permit it. And tonight, those conditions are present. You don't need to analyze this information. You don't need to remember the terms. You can simply let the idea settle quietly. Familiarity equals safety, and Christmas is filled with familiar signals, gently telling your brain that it can stand down just for a while. In the next block, we'll explore how light and darkness interact with brain chemistry, and why warm lighting during winter has such a powerful effect on mood and relaxation. But for now, you can simply rest here, knowing that your sense of comfort is real, natural, and deeply human. Take another slow breath and let your body continue to soften. Block 3, light, darkness, and the chemistry of comfort. As we move gently deeper into this feeling of Christmas comfort, it helps to look at something very basic and very powerful. Light, or more precisely, the absence of it. Long before humans built cities or calendars, light and darkness shaped how the body functioned. And even now, beneath modern habits and artificial schedules, your brain still responds to light. In ancient ways, during winter days grow shorter. Darkness arrives earlier in the afternoon and lingers longer into the morning. This change is not just visual. It sends a clear signal to the brain that the environment is shifting. When light decreases, the brain begins to release more melatonin, a hormone closely associated with rest, relaxation, and sleep. Melatonin doesn't force you to sleep. It gently prepares the body to slow down. This is why winter naturally invites rest. As daylight fades, the circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep and wakefulness, begins to adjust. The body expects quieter evenings, slower movement, less stimulation. In a sense, winter gives the nervous system permission to relax in ways that summer does not. Christmas arrives right in the center of this biological transition. What's important to understand is that the brain does not respond only to the sun. It responds to light quality. Bright, blue-toned light signals alertness. It tells the brain that it's time to focus, solve problems, and stay active. Warm, soft light sends a very different message. It mimics sunset, firelight, candlelight. It tells the brain that the day is ending and that vigilance can ease. This is why Christmas lighting feels so comforting. Warm white lights, candles, lamps, instead of overhead brightness. These are not random aesthetic choices. They align perfectly with the brain's chemistry. When warm light dominates the environment, melatonin production is not suppressed. The nervous system remains calm. Heart rate lowers. Muscles relax. The body feels held rather than stimulated. In contrast, harsh lighting keeps the brain in a state of readiness. It prolongs alertness, it delays rest. Christmas, almost instinctively, moves away from this. Homes glow softly. Streets sparkle rather than glare. The season replaces intensity with gentleness. Candles play a special role here. Firelight is one of the oldest forms of light the human brain recognizes. For thousands of years, fire meant warmth, protection, and survival. Sitting near a flame signaled safety. Darkness beyond the fire existed, but the immediate environment was secure. Even today, watching a candle flame triggers a subtle calming response. The movement is slow, predictable, non-threatening. The brain doesn't need to analyze it. This is why candlelight feels intimate. The Christmas story itself unfolds within this same light-dark rhythm. Shepherds watching at night, a star appearing in darkness, light entering quietly, not to erase the night, but to exist within it. Biblically, light does not conquer darkness through force. It simply shines. This pattern mirrors how the nervous system finds comfort, not through intensity, but through gentle presence. Darkness, contrary to modern perception, is not inherently threatening to the brain. Sudden darkness can be unsettling, but gradual darkness paired with warm light creates a sense of enclosure. The world feels smaller, more contained, more manageable. Christmas evenings often feel cozy because the external environment fades, while the internal environment becomes warmer and brighter. This contrast matters. When the outside world is dark and cold, and the inside space is warm and softly lit, the brain registers safety. The boundary between threat and shelter becomes clear. You are inside, protected, at rest. This is one of the most powerful comfort signals the human nervous system Even the way Christmas lights are arranged contributes to this effect. Small points of light scattered across a room or tree create visual softness. The eyes move gently rather than scanning sharply. This reduces cognitive load. It gives the brain fewer sharp edges to process. Vision itself becomes calmer. As you listen now, you might notice how imagining warm lights already changes how your body feels. Your eyes may feel heavier. Your breathing may slow. This is not imagination. It is physiology responding to expectation. There is also a deeper seasonal wisdom at work here. Winter light teaches patience. The days do not suddenly become longer. The change happens slowly, almost unnoticed. Christmas arrives at a moment when the darkness is deepest, but the return of light has already begun. This timing reinforces hope without urgency. In the Bible, light is often associated with guidance rather than control. A lamp for the path, a star in the sky, not a spotlight, but a presence that makes darkness navigable. This symbolism aligns perfectly with how light affects the nervous system. Too much overwhelms, just enough reassures. Modern life often resists darkness. It keeps lights on late. It pushes productivity into the night. Christmas gently pushes back. It normalizes dimness. It celebrates evening. It allows shadows to exist without fear. As a result, the body responds with gratitude. Melatonin rises. Cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases. The parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and digestion, becomes more active. This is why Christmas evenings feel slower, why conversations soften, why silence feels comfortable rather than empty. You don't need to remember the science behind this. You only need to notice the feeling. Your body knows what to do in low, warm light. It has known for thousands of years. In the next block, we'll explore how physical warmth and temperature deepen this sense of comfort, and why blankets, warm drinks, and slow movement feel especially soothing during the Christmas season. For now, Let the image of soft light remain with you. Gentle, steady, and quietly reassuring. Take another slow breath and allow the night to hold you. Block 4. Temperature, warmth, and the body's need to feel held. As the light softens and the evenings grow quieter, the body responds to another powerful signal of safety. Warmth. Not just emotional warmth, but physical warmth felt through the skin, the muscles, and the breath. Long before humans understood hormones or nervous systems, they understood something very simple. Warmth means protection. Warmth means survival. And even now, your body responds to it instinctively. When temperatures drop, the body naturally seeks ways to conserve energy. Muscles relax. Movement slows. The desire to rest increases. This is not weakness. It is wisdom built into the nervous system. Cold environments signal the body to pull inward, while warmth invites it to settle, to soften, and to feel secure. Christmas arrives right at the moment when this instinct is strongest. Physical warmth has a direct effect on the nervous system. When the skin senses warmth, signals travel to the brain that activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your nervous system responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. It lowers heart rate. It slows breathing. It reduces stress hormones. In simple terms, warmth tells your body that it no longer needs to stay alert. This is why blankets feel comforting. A blanket doesn't just trap heat. It creates gentle pressure. That pressure provides what neuroscientists call deep sensory input. The brain interprets this sensation as containment, as being held. This is the same reason weighted blankets can reduce anxiety. The body feels supported, enclosed, and safe. Christmas traditions naturally reflect this need. Layers of clothing, thick sweaters, scarves, soft fabrics. All of these create a sense of physical grounding. Warm drinks play a similar role. Holding a warm cup sends heat through the palms, one of the most sensitive areas of the body. This warmth travels inward, creating a sense of calm almost immediately. The act itself is slow. You lift the cup. You pause. You sip carefully. These movements encourage the body to slow down. Tea, cocoa, and warm soups are not just seasonal flavors. They are rituals that communicate safety through sensation. In winter, movement itself changes. Steps become slower, histories soften, people sit longer. Christmas traditions rarely involve urgency. They emphasize lingering, sitting together, eating slowly, resting between activities. This shift is not cultural coincidence. It mirrors how the body wants to behave in colder months. Biblically, warmth often appears as shelter, a home, a fire, a place to rest. Hospitality is expressed through food and comfort. Even the Christmas story itself unfolds around the search for shelter, a place to be protected from the night, a space where the body can rest. This is not just symbolic. It reflects a deep understanding of human need. Cold increases alertness. Warmth increases trust. When the body is cold, muscles tense. Breathing becomes shallow. The brain stays watchful. When the body warms, tension releases. Breathing deepens. The mind follows the body into rest. Christmas environments instinctively support this transition. Fires burn. Ovens warm kitchens. Homes glow from the inside out. Even scents become warmer. Cinnamon, vanilla, baked bread. These smells often appear alongside warmth because the brain associates them with nourishment and care. The body responds holistically. Temperature, smell, and touch combine to create a single message. You are safe. Here, as you listen now, you may notice your own body responding. Perhaps your shoulders feel heavier, your hands warmer, your breathing slower. This is not suggestion. It is your nervous system recognizing familiar signals of comfort. Winter traditions encourage this slowing, not by instruction, but by invitation. There is no command to rest. The environment does the work. Dim light, warm air, soft textures, familiar routines. Together, they reduce the need for effort. The body enters a state of gentle recovery. In modern life, this kind of rest is rare. Most environments keep the nervous system stimulated: bright lights, cool temperatures, constant movement. Christmas offers a different experience. It creates spaces where the body can finally let go of tension it didn't realize it was holding. The Bible often describes rest as something given, not earned. A gift rather than a reward. Physical warmth reflects this same principle. You don't work to be warmed. You receive it. You sit near it. You allow it to surround you. This is why Christmas feels like permission. Permission to move slowly. Permission to sit longer. Permission to rest without guilt. The body responds gratefully, activating systems designed for healing and restoration. In the next block, we'll explore how smell and memory deepen this sense of comfort even further, and why certain Christmas scents instantly transport the mind to moments of safety and belonging. For now, you can simply remain here, allowing warmth imagined or real to continue doing its quiet work. Take another slow breath and let your body feel held. Block 5. Smell, memory, and the most powerful sense. As the season continues to settle around us, another layer of Christmas comfort begins to reveal itself, often without us even noticing. It arrives quietly, carried on the air, slipping past thought and logic and going straight to feeling. Scent. Of all the senses, smell is the most direct, the most emotional, and the most deeply tied to memory. It does not ask permission. It does not wait for explanation. It simply arrives and changes how the body feels. There's a reason certain Christmas smells feel overwhelming in the best possible way. Pine needles, cinnamon, and cloves, freshly baked bread, vanilla, wood smoke drifting through cold air. These scents don't just smell pleasant. They activate something ancient in the brain, something older than language itself. And once activated, the body responds almost immediately. Inside the brain, the sense of smell has a unique pathway. Unlike sight or sound, which pass through multiple processing centers, scent travels directly to the limbic system. This is the emotional core of the brain, home to the amygdala and the hippocampus. These regions are responsible for emotional memory, safety responses, and the storage of experiences tied to feeling rather than facts. This is why smells feel so powerful. When you smell something familiar, the brain does not simply recognize it. It relives italiano. The emotion attached to the original memory resurfaces instantly, often without images or words. A single scent can bring back a room, a moment, a feeling of being held, protected, or cared for. And Christmas, more than almost any other season, is saturated with these sensory triggers. Think about the smell of a Christmas tree. Fresh pine carries notes of forest air, cold earth, and resilience. For thousands of years, evergreen trees symbolize survival through winter. Their scent signaled life, continuing when everything else appeared dormant. When your brain detects that scent today, it doesn't interpret it intellectually, it interprets it biologically. Life is present. The environment is stable. You are safe. Spices like cinnamon and clove carry a different message. Warmth, nourishment, preparation. These smells are often associated with kitchens, baking, shared meals, and slow evenings indoors. They signal care. Someone took time to prepare something. Someone expected others to gather. The body responds by relaxing, even before the mind understands why. Fireplace smoke carries perhaps the oldest signal of all. Fire means warmth, protection, and survival. For early humans, fire was safety against cold and predators. Even today, the faint smell of smoke mixed with cold air can trigger a deep sense of shelter. Inside versus outside, protected versus exposed. Christmas environments often recreate this contrast intentionally, surrounding people with scents that tell the body it has crossed into safety. What makes scent so powerful is that it bypasses conscious thought entirely. You don't have to remember Christmas for your body to remember it. The scent does the work for you. This is why nostalgia can feel sudden and intense. It's not imagination, it's neurological recall triggered at the deepest level. Biblically, scent appears again and again as a symbol of presence and remembrance. Frankincense, myrrh, oils, incense. These were not chosen randomly. Fragrance marked sacred moments because it lingered, it filled space. It remained afterwards faded. In the Christmas story itself, gifts associated with scent appear at the very beginning, linking smell with meaning and memory. Christmas traditions today continue this pattern without conscious intention. Candles scented with pine or spice, kitchens filled with familiar aromas. Even outdoor air carries a different quality in winter. These smells create a sensory map that tells the brain where it is and what to expect. Familiar scent equals familiar place. Familiar place equals safety. This is why even people who feel disconnected from holidays emotionally may still feel something shift when they encounter Christmas smells. The body responds before belief or memory has time to interfere. Comfort arrives quietly, without explanation. As you listen now, you may notice imagined scents beginning to surface. Perhaps the smell of baking, or a tree, or warm air mixed with cold night outside. This mental imagery alone can activate similar calming responses in the nervous system. The brain does not fully distinguish between real and vividly remembered sensations. Comfort can arise simply through association. This is one of the reasons Christmas feels so transporting. It doesn't just exist in the present moment, it collapses time. Past and present merge gently. Childhood, family, safety, and warmth coexist. Without, the nervous system interprets this blending as continuity, as stability, as belonging. And this is important in a world that changes constantly. The brain craves anchors. Scent provides one of the strongest anchors available. Christmas offers many of them at once. Not loudly, not aggressively, but consistently, year after year. If you're finding this exploration calming, grounding, or unexpectedly emotional, I want to gently invite you to stay connected with SleepTide. Subscribing to this channel helps ensure that peaceful, science-based storytelling like this continues to reach people who need rest, comfort, and quiet nights. You can also like this video to let the algorithm know that calm content still matters. These small actions make a real difference, especially in a world that rarely slows down. As we move forward, we'll explore how sound and music further deepen this sense of safety, and why familiar Christmas melodies regulate emotion so effectively. But for now, there is nothing you need to do. You can simply remain with the feeling. Let scent do what it does best. Let memory soften. Let comfort arrive without effort. Take another slow breath, and allow the warmth of familiarity to stay with you a little longer. Block 6. Sound, music, and emotional regulation. As warmth settles into the body and familiar scents soften the mind, another layer of comfort begins to emerge almost unnoticed. Sound. Not noise, not interruption, but sound that moves slowly, predictably, and with intention. Music has always been one of the most powerful tools humans have used to regulate emotion, long before there were words to describe why it worked. And Christmas music, in particular, carries qualities that align perfectly with how the nervous system finds calm. When you hear a familiar Christmas melody, something subtle happens before you even realize it. Your breathing begins to match the tempo. Your heart rate adjusts, muscles release tension. This is not coincidence. The human brain is wired to synchronize with rhythm. When rhythm is slow and steady, the body follows. Most Christmas music shares a few important characteristics. It moves at a moderate or slow pace. It repeats familiar melodic patterns. It avoids sudden changes or sharp contrasts. These features are not accidental. They mirror the rhythms associated with safety and rest. Lullabies use the same structure. Gentle hymns use it. Even ancient chants follow similar patterns. The nervous system recognizes this immediately. Repetition plays a crucial role here. When a melody repeats, the brain no longer needs to predict what comes next. Uncertainty disappears. The auditory system relaxes. The mind stops scanning for surprise. This predictability allows the parasympathetic nervous system to take the lead, guiding the body into a state of calm awareness. Familiar Christmas songs work so well because the brain already knows them. It doesn't have to listen actively. It can simply rest inside the sound. This is why the same songs return every year. Novelty excites the brain. Familiarity soothes it. During most of the year, we seek stimulation. New sounds, new information, new experiences. Christmas offers something different. It offers permission to return, to hear the same melodies again, to move through the same emotional landscape without effort. This return is deeply regulating. Music also influences breathing. Slow, steady melodies naturally lengthen the exhale. Longer exhales activate the vagus nerve, a key pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system. When this system is active, the body shifts away from stress responses. Blood pressure lowers, digestion improves, emotional reactivity decreases. This is why listening to calm music often feels like a physical release rather than a mental one. Christmas music, when played softly, encourages this shift almost effortlessly. Volume matters as much as melody. Loud sound demands attention. Soft sound invites presence. Many Christmas songs are designed to be played quietly in the background, filling space without dominating it. This allows the listener to remain grounded rather than overwhelmed. The music becomes part of the environment, not something that needs to be followed. This background quality is important. When sound surrounds rather than confronts, the brain interprets it as safe. It becomes an auditory version of warm lighting or a soft blanket, something that holds rather than stimulates. This is why Christmas music often feels comforting, even when you're not actively listening to it. There is also a strong memory component at work. As we explored with scent, music connects directly to emotional memory. The brain stores music alongside experiences, not facts. A song doesn't just remind you of a moment, it recreates the emotional state associated with that moment. Christmas music, repeated year after year, becomes layered with personal history. Family gatherings, quiet nights, moments of safety, moments of belonging. When those melodies return, the brain retrieves the emotional context automatically. This retrieval is often gentle, not overwhelming. It doesn't pull you backward aggressively. It brings the past forward softly. This blending of past and present creates a sense of continuity. The nervous system interprets continuity as stability, and stability is deeply calming. Biblically, sound and music have always been associated with regulation rather than excitement. Psalms were sung to steady the heart. Hymns were used to bring focus and peace. Even angelic announcements in the Christmas story are described not as chaotic noise, but as harmonious proclamation. Glory expressed through order, not chaos. This reflects a deeper truth about sound. Music organizes emotion. It gives shape to feeling. When emotion has shape, it becomes manageable. Christmas music does not ask the listener to process complex emotions. It holds them gently, allowing the listener to feel without effort. There is also something important about collective familiarity. When many people recognize the same songs, a shared emotional language emerges. Even in silence, knowing that others are hearing the same melodies creates a sense of connection. The brain registers this as social safety. You are not alone in this experience. Others recognize it too. This perception reduces isolation, even when listening alone. Music also anchors attention in the present moment. Unlike thoughts, which move freely through time, sound exists only now. You cannot hear music in the past or future. You hear it as it happens. This pulls attention gently out of rumination and into sensation. Christmas music, with its slow pace and predictable structure, does this without force. It doesn't demand mindfulness. It creates it naturally. As you listen now, you may notice your own breathing, aligning with the rhythm of this narration. That same process happens with music. The body sinks. The mind follows. Calm emerges without instruction. Modern life often overwhelms the auditory system. Notifications, traffic, voices, overlapping sudden sounds. Christmas introduces a different soundscape. Softer, slower, more intentional. This shift alone can feel restorative. The nervous system recognizes the reduction in threat cues and responds with relief. Even silence feels different during Christmas. When music fades, it leaves behind a sense of fullness rather than emptiness. The ears remain relaxed. The body stays grounded. Silence becomes a continuation of calm rather than an absence of stimulation. This is why quiet Christmas evenings feel especially peaceful. As this block settles, you don't need to remember any of the science behind it. You don't need to analyze how music affects you. Your body already knows. It responds instinctively. It has been responding this way since childhood, and long before that, since the earliest moments of human history. Music has always been a guide back to calm. In the next block, we'll explore how rituals and repetition deepen this regulation even further, and why doing the same gentle things year after year allows the brain to rest more deeply than novelty ever could. For now, you can simply remain here, letting sound remembered or imagined continue its quiet work. Take a slow breath in and let the rhythm carry you. Block 7, Rituals, Repetition, and the Comfort of Predictability. As the season continues to unfold, another quiet source of Christmas comfort becomes clear. It's not something you buy. It's not something you decorate with. It's something you repeat. Ritual. Simple actions done the same way. At the same time, year after year. Decorating familiar spaces. Preparing familiar foods. Watching the same movies. Hearing the same stories. These repetitions may seem small, even ordinary, but to the human brain, they are profoundly soothing. The brain is constantly working to make decisions. What to do next, what to pay attention to, how to respond. Even simple choices require energy. This constant decision-making creates what psychologists call cognitive load. Over time, that load becomes exhausting, even if we don't consciously notice it. Modern life, with its endless options and interruptions, keeps the brain in a near constant state of evaluation. Christmas rituals quietly interrupt that process. When a ritual is familiar, the brain no longer needs to decide. It already knows what happens next. The sequence is stored. The outcome is expected. This removes uncertainty, and uncertainty is one of the primary drivers of anxiety. Ritual tells the brain, nothing new needs to be solved here. You can rest. This is why repeating the same traditions feels comforting rather than boring. Decorating the same way each year is not about creativity. It's about recognition. The brain sees the familiar arrangement and relaxes into it. Cooking the same foods isn't about efficiency. It's about predictability. Watching the same movies isn't about novelty. It's about knowing the emotional arc in advance. You already know where the story goes. You already know how it ends. And because of that, you can enjoy it without tension. The nervous system loves this. Ritual reduces the need for vigilance. It lowers alertness without lowering awareness. The body remains present, but no longer on guard. This allows the parasympathetic nervous system to remain active for longer periods of time. Heart rate stabilizes. Breathing slows. Muscles soften. Emotional reactivity decreases. In other words, ritual creates emotional rest. Christmas is unusually rich in ritual. The same decorations come out of storage. The same lights are placed in the same windows. The same scents fill the air. Even the calendar itself becomes ritualized. Certain days mean certain things. Certain evenings carry certain expectations. This structure gives the brain something rare, a script. When life feels unpredictable, a script is a gift. You don't have to improvise. You don't have to invent meaning. You don't have to decide what matters. The ritual already holds that for you. You simply step into it. This is especially powerful during winter, when the body already wants to conserve energy. Ritual aligns behavior with biology. Instead of fighting the desire to slow down, Christmas traditions support it. They encourage lingering, repeating, staying rather than moving on. There's also something deeply regulating about shared ritual. When people perform the same actions together, even quietly, the brain registers social synchronization. This creates a sense of belonging without requiring conversation or emotional disclosure. Sitting together while watching a familiar movie, preparing food side by side, decorating in silence. These shared rhythms signal safety at a social level. You are not alone, and you don't need to perform. Biblically, ritual has always served this purpose. Feasts repeated each year, stories retold in the same words. Sacred times marked again and again. These were not meant to provide new information. They were meant to provide grounding. Repetition created continuity between generations. It reminded people that they were part of something stable, something larger than the present moment. The Christmas story itself is deeply ritualized. The same scenes, the same phrases, the same movements from darkness to light. This repetition is not accidental. It mirrors the way the human brain learns to trust. Trust is built through consistency, not surprise. Even for those who are not religious, these patterns still work. Ritual does not require belief to be effective. It requires repetition. The brain does not ask why a ritual exists. It simply responds to the fact that it does. Familiar actions create a predictable emotional landscape, and predictability is calming. This is why disruptions to Christmas rituals often feel more unsettling than we expect. When a familiar tradition doesn't happen, the brain notices, not emotionally at first, but neurologically. Something expected did not occur. The sense of safety wavers slightly. This reaction is not immaturity or nostalgia. It is the nervous system responding to broken patterns. At the same time, rituals are adaptable. The brain does not require perfection. It requires consistency. New rituals can become comforting if they are repeated gently. Over time, they begin to carry the same sense of safety. This is why creating even small personal traditions can feel meaningful. A specific evening routine, a certain type of music at night, a familiar candlelit at the same hour. These become anchors. Christmas, more than any other season, gives permission for ritual to take center stage. The world slows just enough to make room for it. The same actions repeated do not feel wasteful. They feel intentional. They feel earned. The brain interprets this repetition as a signal that nothing urgent is required. You can remain here. As you listen now, you may notice how even recalling familiar traditions feels calming. Your mind may drift to a room, a table, a sound, a smell. This mental rehearsal alone can activate the same safety responses as the ritual itself. The brain does not sharply distinguish between remembered and present patterns. Both can create comfort. This is why Christmas rituals linger emotionally long after the season ends. They are stored not as events, but as states of being. Calm, belonging, familiarity, safety, and perhaps most importantly, ritual removes pressure. You do not have to invent meaning at Christmas. You receive it. You step into something already shaped by time. This allows the mind to rest from striving. The ritual carries you, rather than the other way around. In the next block, we'll explore how social connection and shared presence deepen this comfort even further, and why togetherness during Christmas feels different from togetherness at any other time of year. For now, you can remain here, held by repetition, supported by familiarity, and free from the need to decide what comes next. Take a slow breath and let the ritual continue doing its quiet work. Block 8, social warmth, and the feeling of belonging. As rituals repeat and familiarity settles in, another layer of Christmas comfort quietly begins to take shape. It doesn't arrive loudly, and it doesn't always require conversation. It arrives through presence, through proximity, through the simple awareness that others exist nearby, moving at the same slower rhythm. This is social warmth, and it is one of the most powerful regulators of the human nervous system. Human beings are wired for connection long before they are wired for independence. From the earliest moments of life, safety is defined not only by environment, but by relationship. A calm voice, a familiar face, a steady presence. These signals shape how the brain understands the world. And even in adulthood, the nervous system continues to respond to them, often without conscious awareness. During Christmas, these signals become more frequent. People gather more often. They linger longer. Movements synchronize. Meals are shared. Even silence is shared. This synchronization matters deeply. When humans move, speak, or rest together, the brain releases oxytocin, a hormone closely associated with trust, bonding, and emotional safety. Oxytocin does not create excitement. It creates calm. It softens vigilance. It tells the nervous system that it does not need to remain on guard. This is why togetherness feels different during Christmas. It's not just that people are present, it's that they are present in predictable, low-demand ways, sitting side by side, walking slowly, watching the same familiar scenes unfold. These shared experiences require very little effort, yet they send powerful signals of belonging. You're not alone in this moment. Others are here too. Even quiet togetherness has this effect. You don't need deep conversation for oxytocin to be released. Shared silence works just as well. Sitting near someone while doing nothing in particular. Being in the same room without pressure to engage. These moments tell the brain that connection is available without performance. This is deeply regulating, especially for a nervous system that has been overstimulated throughout the year. Christmas creates conditions where this kind of presence becomes acceptable and expected. The pace slows enough to allow people to simply exist together. There's less emphasis on productivity, less demand for outcomes. This removes social pressure. When pressure decreases, authenticity increases. And authenticity feels safe. The brain interprets social safety as physical safety. Heart rate lowers, muscles relax, breathing deepens, emotional defenses soften. This is why being with others during Christmas often feels physically comforting. not just emotionally pleasant. The body responds as if threat has decreased, because from a neurological perspective, it has shared experiences. Amplify this effect. Watching the same movie, hearing the same song, repeating the same traditions. These synchronized moments align emotional states across people. The brain notices this alignment and relaxes further. When others feel what you feel at the same time, the nervous system interprets it as confirmation. This is normal. This is Saridu. Belong here. Biblically, this sense of belonging is woven throughout the Christmas story. Shepherds gather. Travelers arrive together. Angels appear as a multitude. The story is never solitary. Even when individuals receive messages, they move toward others. The narrative flows toward gathering, toward shared presence. This reflects a deep truth about human nature. Meaning deepens when it is held collectively. Hospitality, a central biblical value, is especially emphasized during this season. Offering food, offering warmth, offering space. These acts are not about abundance. They are about inclusion. Making room. The nervous system responds strongly to inclusion. To be included is to be safe. Christmas environments often recreate this instinctively. Doors open. Chairs are added. Tables expand. Even small gestures, like offering a warm drink or adjusting a blanket for someone else, send powerful social signals. You matter here. You are seen. These signals may feel subtle, but they register deeply. At the same time, it's important to acknowledge another experience that often surfaces during Christmas. Loneliness. Not everyone is surrounded by others. Not everyone has access to shared rituals or gatherings, and the contrast between expectation and reality can heighten feelings of isolation. This experience deserves gentleness, not avoidance. What is often overlooked is that the nervous system responds not only to actual connection, but also to the perception of connection. Simply knowing that connection exists somewhere can be regulating. Seeing lights in other windows, hearing distant laughter. Knowing that others are gathering, even if you are not physically present, can still create a sense of social continuity. The brain interprets this as belonging to a larger whole. Music plays a role here too. Hearing familiar songs connects listeners to countless others hearing the same melodies. This shared cultural experience creates a subtle form of togetherness. You are part of something larger, even in solitude. The nervous system responds to this awareness with the sense of grounding. The Christmas story itself offers comfort to the lonely. It begins not with crowds, but with a small, quiet setting. It acknowledges isolation and uncertainty, yet it moves steadily toward connection. Visitors arrive, messages are shared, recognition unfolds. The story does not deny loneliness, it passes through it. This progression matters. It tells the nervous system that isolation is not permanent, that connection can arrive gently, without force. That belonging does not always appear loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, through presence rather than interaction. Modern neuroscience supports this understanding. Studies show that even imagined social connection can activate calming neural pathways. Remembering moments of belonging, visualizing supportive figures, listening to voices that convey warmth. These experiences can reduce stress responses and increase emotional regulation. The brain does not strictly differentiate between present and vividly remembered social safety. This is why storytelling itself can feel comforting. Listening to a calm voice, following a shared narrative, knowing others are listening to. These factors create a sense of connection that extends beyond physical proximity. SleepTide itself exists within this space, offering companionship through sound without demand. Christmas amplifies this effect. It creates a shared emotional landscape. Even across distance, people orient toward similar symbols, sounds, and rhythms. This collective orientation reduces the feeling of being out of sync with the world. You are moving at the same pace as something larger. As you listen now, you may notice a soft sense of inclusion emerging, not because something has changed externally, but because the nervous system recognizes familiar social cues. Calm voice, gentle pacing, shared understanding. These signals are enough. You do not need to compare your experience to anyone else's. Belonging is not measured by proximity or activity. It is measured by safety. And safety can exist in many forms. A memory, a voice, a shared story, a quiet awareness that others exist alongside you. Christmas holds space for all of these experiences. It does not require constant togetherness. It allows for solitude without abandonment. It acknowledges both presence and absence, holding them within the same season. As this block settles, you can allow yourself to feel connected without effort. You do not need to reach outward. You can simply remain receptive. The nervous system will do the rest. In the next block, we'll explore how all of these elements, like warmth, sound, ritual, and connection, change our perception of time itself, and why Christmas often feels slower, fuller, and more expansive. For now, let the sense of belonging remain gently present. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to feel held within the shared rhythm of the season. Block 9. Why cozy feelings slow time? As comfort settles into the body and connection softens the mind, something subtle begins to change. It is not immediately noticeable, and it cannot be measured with a clock. Time itself begins to feel different. Slower, fuller, less demanding. This shift is one of the most profound effects of coziness, and it is one of the reasons Christmas feels so unlike the rest of the year. Time, as the brain experiences it, is not fixed. It stretches and contracts depending on the state of the nervous system. When the body is tense, alert, or overstimulated, time feels fast and fragmented. Moments rush by, hours disappear without memory. The mind jumps ahead, anticipating what comes next. This is the experience of urgency, and it dominates much of modern life. When the nervous system relaxes, the opposite happens. Attention widens, awareness deepens. The present moment becomes more spacious. Instead of racing forward, the mind settles into what is already happening. This is why moments of comfort often feel timeless, not because time stops, but because it is no longer being pushed. Christmas creates the conditions for this shift in a way few other seasons do. Biologically, as we've explored, the body is already inclined toward rest in winter. Light softens, warmth increases, movement slows. These signals reduce the activation of stress pathways in the brain. When cortisol decreases and parasympathetic activity increases, the perception of time changes naturally. The brain stops scanning for urgency and begins to register experience more fully. Psychologically, comfort reduces anticipation. When we feel unsafe or uncertain, the mind projects forward constantly. What do I need to do next? What might go wrong? What am I missing? This future-oriented focus compresses time. The present moment feels like something to get through rather than something to inhabit. Coziness removes this pressure. When the brain senses safety, it no longer needs to escape the present. It can stay. This staying creates the sensation of time slowing. Moments feel thicker, more stirred. A simple activity, like sitting by soft light or listening to familiar music, can feel expansive rather than brief. Christmas rituals reinforce this experience. Repeated traditions reduce the need to plan or anticipate. You already know how the evening unfolds. You know the sounds, the smells, the rhythm. Because of this, the brain doesn't rush ahead. It remains where it is. This presence stretches time subjectively, even if the clock continues at the same pace. There is also a cultural element at work. Christmas represents one of the few widely recognized pauses in the year. Work slows. Expectations shift. Schedules loosen, even if only slightly. This collective easing of urgency allows individuals to relax without feeling left behind. When everyone slows together, the nervous system feels permission rather than guilt. This permission is rare. Most of the year, slowing down feels like falling behind. At Christmas, it feels appropriate, expected, even encouraged. This changes how the mind relates to time. Instead of resisting rest, it accepts Italiano. Instead of rushing through moments, it lingers. Biblically, time during sacred seasons is often described differently than ordinary time. Festivals, Sabbaths, and holy days were designed as interruptions to routine. Not to accomplish more, but to remember, to rest, to mark meaning rather than productivity. Christmas inherits this pattern. It is not about efficiency, it is about presence. The Christmas toy itself unfolds slowly. There is waiting, watching, traveling, pausing. Recognition happens gradually. Nothing is rushed. The narrative invites the listener to slow down alongside it. This storytelling rhythm mirrors how the brain naturally processes experience when it feels safe. Memory also plays a role in how time is perceived. When moments are emotionally rich but low in stress, they're encoded more deeply. This creates the feeling that time was full rather than fast. Christmas memories often feel longer in retrospect because they contain layered sensory and emotional detail. Light, sound, smell, warmth, connection. These layers anchor moments in memory. In contrast, periods of stress often feel long while happening but short in memory. They pass without texture. Christmas reverses this pattern. It may feel slow while unfolding, but it remains vivid afterward. This fullness contributes to the sense that Christmas exists slightly outside of ordinary time. Days feel softer, nights feel longer, even silence feels different. Without constant urgency, the mind begins to notice subtleties. The way light moves across a room, the sound of breathing, the space between thoughts. These details expand awareness, making time feel generous rather than scarce. As you listen now, you may notice this shift beginning. There is no rush to understand, no pressure to finish. The pacing of this narration is designed to match the state of calm it describes. Each sentence lingers. Each idea settles. This mirrors the way the nervous system experiences safety. Gradually, without force. Sleep often arrives through this same mechanism. When the brain stops tracking time aggressively, it releases control. Thoughts loosen. Awareness narrows gently. The sense of later fades. The body moves naturally toward rest. Christmas coziness supports this transition, not by inducing sleep directly, but by removing obstacles to it. Even for those who struggle with rest, this seasonal slowing can feel like relief. The world seems to ask a little less. The pace softens just enough to make room for breathing. This breathing becomes rhythmic, predictable, calm. And with it, time becomes something you inhabit rather than something that chases you. Christmas offers this experience not as an escape, but as a reminder of how time feels when the nervous system is allowed to settle. A reminder that urgency is not the natural state of being. It is a condition created by environment, and environments can change. As this block draws toward stillness, there is nothing you need to do. You do not need to hold on to time or try to slow it further. The body knows how to do this on its own when conditions are right. Soft light, warmth, familiar sound, gentle presence. These elements are already working together. You may notice your thoughts drifting. This is welcome. You may lose track of how long you've been listening. This is a sign that time is loosening its grip. You are not behind, you are exactly where you need to be. In the final block, we will gently gather everything together, returning to the central truth beneath all of this. That Christmas comfort is not imaginary. It is a natural state your body remembers, a quiet place you can return to whenever the world feels too fast. For now, allow time to slow without effort. Let moments stretch. Let urgency fade. Let the night carry you gently forward. Take a slow breath and remain here in the fullness of now. Locked in, returning to rest, letting comfort do its work. Most people never stop to ask this question. They feel it, they recognize it, but they don't name it. Why does Christmas feel so different? Why does the body soften more easily? Why does the mind slow down without effort? Why does rest feel closer during this season than at any other time of year? Tonight, you already know the answer. Not intellectually, but physically. And that's the most important kind of knowing. What you've been experiencing throughout this journey is not nostalgia. It's not imagination. It's not sentimentality or tradition alone. It is your nervous system remembering a state it was designed for. A state of safety. A state of warmth. A state where nothing needs to be solved, proven, or rushed. And if this sense of calm feels meaningful to you, you've noticed your breathing slow, your thoughts soften, or sleep feel closer. I gently invite you to stay connected with SleepTide by subscribing or liking this video. It helps this quiet space continue reaching people who need rest, comfort, and stillness at the end of long days. There's nothing you need to do right now. Just know that it's here, waiting quietly. Just like this moment, now, you can let that go. Because this final block isn't about learning anything new. It's about allowing everything to settle. Light has already done its work. Soft, warm light told your brain the day was ending. It reduced alertness without demanding darkness. It allowed your eyes and mind to relax together. Darkness didn't arrive as something to fear, but as something to rest inside. Warmth has already done its work. Your body recognized protection. Muscles released. Movement slowed. The need to brace against the world faded. Warmth didn't ask permission. It simply surrounded you and let your nervous system respond the way it always has. Smell has already done its work. Familiar scents unlocked memories without words. They've reminded the brain of nourishment, shelter, and care. They collapse time gently, allowing the past and present to coexist without effort. Sound has already done its work. Rhythm regulated breathing. Familiar tones steadied the heart. Music, or even the memory of music, anchored awareness in the present moment without pulling it forward. Ritual has already done its work. Predictability removed decision-making. Repetition created safety. Nothing unexpected remained. The brain no longer needed to plan or prepare. Connection has already done its work. Even quiet presence, even imagined presence, even shared rhythm without conversation told the nervous system that it wasn't alone. Belonging didn't require performance. It simply existed. And time has already softened. This is what Christmas coziness really is. Not a single thing, but a convergence. A rare alignment of biology, psychology, memory, environment, and meaning. All pointing in the same direction. Rest, biblically, rest has always been described as a return, not a reward for effort, but a condition of trust. Be still is not a command to achieve something. It is an invitation to stop striving. Christmas carries this invitation quietly, not through words, but through atmosphere. You were never meant to force relaxation. The body relaxes when effort ends. Right now, there is no problem to solve, no decision to make, no future moment to prepare for. The nervous system recognizes this absence of demand and responds naturally. Breathing becomes slower and deeper. Muscles release tension they didn't realize they were holding. Thoughts lose their urgency. Attention narrows gently, like the dimming of lights in a quiet room. This is not sleep yet. This is the space before it. The doorway, and doorways open when you stop pushing. Christmas, at its deepest level, has always been about arrival without noise. Light entering darkness without force. Presence without demand. Meaning without explanation. The original story unfolds slowly, quietly, without urgency, and your nervous system responds to that rhythm just as it always has. Even now, the world outside may still be active. Tomorrow may still exist. Responsibilities may still wait. None of that needs to disappear for rest to arrive. Rest does not require perfection. It requires safety, and safety is already here. You may notice thoughts becoming softer, less defined. Images may drift in and out. You may forget parts of what you've heard. This is not distraction. This is transition. The mind is releasing control, and the body is taking over. Let it. You don't need to hold on to this feeling. You don't need to preserve it. You don't need to remember it. Tomorrow. Christmas comfort doesn't need effort to stay. It stays by itself. The lights can remain soft. The warmth can remain steady. The sound can fade into the background. The sense of connection can exist without thought. Nothing needs a clean ending. There is no final lesson. No conclusion to reach. No moment to capture. Only a gentle settling. If sleep comes, let it come. If rest remains without sleep, let that be enough. Both are forms of arrival. Christmas coziness is not something you create. It's something your body remembers. And tonight, without trying, you've already returned to it. Good night.